Today, what we're going to do is the goal of today is to go in blind onto Rightmove to find a buy, refurbish, refinance property. If you're interested to learn, there'll be a few things that I kind of push on with today because I want to make it a nice quick video to showcase going online, how to really find, analyze, etc. these sort of deals. If there's a few things that I say that make you question or make you want to know a little bit more, just comment, just let us know. There'll be things like we'll talk about the need not want area and what that looks like, which I'll go into. The area analysis, I've analysed my area, I know my area very well, so there'll be a few that I can just fly through that you might want to understand. Why have I not looked at that? What's made me realise that? The yields and etc. So today is mainly to showcase the process of being able to go online, finding a deal, analysing it and what that looks like. We'll try to do two, but we'll definitely get one deal nonetheless. But step one might be to understand your area a lot more. Then step two is to be able to move at this speed to be able to find buy, refurbish, refinance deals. So the area that we're going to focus on today is the WF postcode. That is the area, it's just outside Leeds and it includes Wakefield, Castleford, Pontefract, Upton, Featherstone, etc. There's a few within that. It's an area that I've bought myself. It's an area that of a lot of investors that I work with buying. Several reasons for that again, we can hold on for another day. However, let's go. So, we're looking at houses, as I say, need, not want. We're looking at 2 to 3 bedrooms. And then we're also looking at, I would say, 80,000 as a minimum up to probably about 150,000. That's where the peak investment strategy is in this location. Probably a few of you watching this down in London that are like, bloody hell, 80 to 150,000, you couldn't buy a shed near me. But yeah, this is the investment area and the strategy that we would look at. So I'm going to search. What I'm also going to do, by the way, is I'm going to be searching mainly for semis because there's a current investor that we're working with that I've got in mind for this that's wanting a bit more of a semi-detached property, something that we can look at for that. No specific reason they want that, by the way. I don't want to sit here and say we're doing semis because semis are better. They're not. There's pros and cons to buying terrace or semis. What we do focus on is houses nonetheless and built houses. Cool. Usually I'd look at oldest listed. Okay, and I'd look at oldest listed. To be honest, I'd look at both, oldest and newest, but I'm oldest listed because you usually got a couple more opportunities for more motivated sellers. The longer something's on the market, usually that means that there's more opportunity to be able to jump in and offer because they've not had anything or they're in an opportunity where they're more likely to take an offer because it's been online for a while. But what I'm going to do today, I'm going to look at newest listed just so we can look at ones that are active right now that have just come on. So, always sponsored at the top, featured listing, new listing, sponsored, whatever. I usually skip straight past them. Okay, that's what's coming on for everyone. That does look like quite a nice house though. But anyway, we'll skip past that. So I'm going to open up this one. This is the first one. 110 seems quite nice. I would have to just ask the agent if it's a standard or non-standard construction property, just to double check. Outside of that, it's got a driveway, it's a semi-detached. It looks as though it's a good start. So I'm going to open up the floor plan. Got a nice big kitchen. We've got the stairs in the kitchen, bit of a kitchen diner, and then a large lounge here as well. And upstairs we've got the landing, 3 good sized bedrooms, 2 doubles and probably pushing on a double, and then a bathroom here. So let's have a look at the pictures. First thing we want to do is understand what the standard of the property is in. So we want to understand what the property looks like inside. So straight away we can see that this property probably needs a fair bit of work. I say probably, it needs a fair bit of work. Never mind the fact there's no flooring and the kitchen looks awful and the photos are terrible, by the way. Not a bad thing, but the photos are terrible. This isn't a very nice kitchen nonetheless. So definitely work needs to be done then. Yes, you can straight away see everything needs doing. I've no idea why there's a random bed in that property. I mean, there's no flooring throughout, which is weird. That as a wallpaper makes me feel sick. That's awful. A few things we're looking out for is the heating system. So the radiator seems old, but it's got a heating system, which is good. The skirting boards, again, look a bit old. So what we do on a viewing is we'd understand, do we need to replace them or can we salvage them and gloss them? My assumption would be we need to replace, obviously, with the wallpaper as well. Again, another bedroom that's got a random bed in there and nothing else. So we'd need a good change of that. Bathroom doesn't look too bad. The worry with this is if we're changing everything else in the property, the bathroom's going to stand out like a sore thumb. So for me, I'd go, on our numbers, let's put in the fact that we'd be doing the bathroom. And there's two reasons for that. One, I'd want to give the option to the investor. As I say, if we're getting someone or we're renting this out because we're going to hold it by refurbished and refinance to hold to rent, most of the time, if everything else is new in the property, this is going to stand out, so we probably want to do it. But two, I'd rather present it and get an offer that works with the numbers thought about, because if we say we're not going to do it and then we decide we're doing it, that increases the refurb. So that affects the numbers in a negative way. Whereas if we say we're going to do it and we don't end up doing it, and we can salvage what's there, that would improve the numbers in a positive way, but we're still buying the property with the view of doing it. So that'd help with the purchase price. Nice outdoors. I mean, there's no grass, but it's a big, nice enough outdoors. We'd budget a little bit of work just to tidy it up, but it works out quite well. As a property, this works quite nicely. It needs a full refurb. We'll go over that in a second. But outside of that, I like what I'm seeing. I'm going to have a bit of a look at the description, see if there's anything that stands out. I'll try to run through it as quick as I can. I'm probably going to miss something on here. Didn't mean to zoom in. I'm not that blind. Yeah, this is all information about the property, exterior agent notes. Okay, so there's nothing that stands out to me that worries me. It's not an auction property. The location's really good. I mean, we've got school here. We've got... looks like it's in a built-up area, which is good. We've got Tesco round the corner. It's in Castleford, which I quite like. This is, East Castleford, near Junction 32. For me, this is a good property. And I know this is worth more than that 110. As I say, the only thing that I need to look at is just to confirm the construction type. I've got a cheat over here, by the way, on property data. If you do want a link to use property data, then there will be a link in the description. Property data is great because it tells you a bit of information. So I know this sold in 2013, 89. It was up at 120. Asking price was 120. It thinks it's worth around 140 to 145. Tells me the size, and it's got a bit more information here, although I don't take it as gospel. There's a few points in that we'd have to look at, but as a property that I want to see, it ticks the area, it needs work, so it could work good for a BRRR. It's got 3 bedrooms, semi-detached, and it's a freehold, so it's ticking a lot of boxes. As I said, the only question is that I want to understand the construction type. Reeds Rains might not know, but I'll ask them nonetheless. Right. As I say, I'm cheating here because I can just get the straight postcode here. What I'm going to do is I want to know, what is this going to rent for? So there's 2 things we need to know now is, what is it going to rent for? So let's have a quick look at properties in a quarter of a mile. So I've just put the postcode in a quarter of a mile, and now I want to put in semi and terrace. So there's nothing in a quarter of a mile. Let's go a half mile. Cool. So we've got a 2-bed here at 895, massive drive. Looks like it's done up recently, as you can see. It's quite a nice property. 3-bed here at 975, quite large. Let agreed, that's good. Looks nice enough inside. Not sure on the wallpaper in the living room, not sure on the floor in here, but nonetheless, this looks like quite a good property. This is a great comparison. A 3-bed semi, less than half a mile away for 975, 895 for a 2-bed terrace. I think 975 is a good shout. I'm going to be conservative. So what I do here, by the way, I appreciate we're 6:30 on an evening, so there's no agents open, or there's probably not many, is I'd call a letting agent and I'd find out what it would be. So I'd call them, say, I'm looking at a property, it's a 3-bed semi on Elizabeth Drive in Castleford. I'd probably call Hunters, and then I'd call Logic. I'd call the agents on there and say, just want to understand what your thoughts would be on this, because I'm interested in buying it, doing it up, and then renting it out, and I'd like you guys to rent it. What do you think? And I don't think 975 is a silly thing to put. What I am going to put is I'm going to put 950. So if I just open up my calculator here, and I put, at the minute it's on 110. We don't know what the market value is. We'll do it in a sec. And we think 950 on rent. So there's 2 things that we need to work out here. As you can see, there's market value, which we'll do. And then there's a refurbishment as well. So market value, what we're going to do now is, I'll open up a new tab so we can see everything, is I'm going to go back on here, and I'm going to go buy and just look at what's on the market at the moment. I'm going to go 3 beds, because that is what we're looking at. I'm going to include offers, and then I'm going to go, and I will put in a semi-detached in a second. But if we look on here and we filter on and just do semi-detached, Go a quarter of a mile to find comparables. Perfect. Right, straight away, this is looking good. This might actually be a project we look at. So we've got one here at 160. Big drive, similar enough. I'll just move this over here. Looks like a different construction type. So again, pay attention to that. But outside of that, this looks like a good difference or similar property. This has got solar panels. I mean, the inside doesn't stand out. It looks like a bit of a larger property. Horrible bathroom. If you're watching this in your house, I do apologise. Not my sort of bathroom. Outside of that, this looks like a half decent house. This, again, very similar. Not sold, but done up. Quite nice. Bathroom's lovely. Now we're talking. Here's a really good one. Right, this is one that we're going to use as a proper comparison. Jesus, look at that. 140, that needs absolutely everything. 140 needs everything. This could be a really good opportunity. This is what, when I speak to mentees, I speak to people, this is why it's good to never discount properties that are online. I mean, there's a few factors we need to find out and look into, but this could be a real gem here. And we'll look into the other figures in a second, but straight away we're seeing some really good comparables. 140 needs everything, 150 needs everything. Well, 150 done up nicely, very similar construction type without a front driveway, and we're using this as an example. We'll do that now. Seems very similar construction type. Kitchen looks lovely, so that's a brand new kitchen. Done up nicely as a living room, nice open front doors. Bit of a nicer back garden. I mean, it could do with a tidy up, but grass, nicer, looks good. I mean, the inside is done really nicely. This is a really good comparable. Not sure about that, but we were talking earlier, weren't we, about when house is done up, nice, and you leave certain aspects, it stands out like a sore thumb. This stands out. I mean, look at it needs grouting, the tiling isn't fantastic. That needs work to the bathroom, and you can tell everything else looks nice. That looks brand new. The door here looks beautiful. You can see recently done, partial rewire, it's got the electric certificate, it's got the gas, this has been done properly. This is one we're using, 150, sold, it's a fantastic comparison. So let's put 150 on in here. Cool. Right, I'm liking this. Refurb. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rattle through the refurb. As I say, I'll do another video if it's wanting on how to calculate what to do. We've got a schedule of works that we've got. If I just type it in here, this is the one we use. There's other ones available that gives a good understanding of the schedule of works that other companies might use. But this is the one we use that you can use and fill out as you're going. This is an internal process in the network. But what I want to do here is I'm going to go over quickly the refurb. As I say, I know we can do it for the price that I'm going to state. There'll be people that go, you'll never do it for that. I know when I post sometimes talk about our smaller properties that we've done where we spent £10,000, I've had loads of people go, you can't do that for 10,000, you can't do that. In most places down south, absolutely, £10,000 gets you bollocks all. We're up north. Your money goes a lot further when it comes to stuff like this. So I'm going to just quickly go through, explain what we'd need to do to this property, and then what the price would be if we were doing this for a client. So, quite obviously, the entire property needs new flooring. We need a new kitchen, blatantly. The entire property needs painting. I'm going to assume quite a few rooms will need replastering as well. There's not really any pictures of downstairs, living room and stuff. I'm going to assume it needs plastering. New bathroom, I'm going to quote for. I'm going to assume, again, I'm doing a lot of assuming. This is where I pick up the phone and ask these questions. This property here is basically what I want to get it to. And it's had its electric work. It's had its gas safety certificate, which we'd need to get to. So it probably need a new heating system and a boiler. There's a few aspects of this that I want to be doing. The only things that I'm looking at this and going, right, I'm not too sure, is the windows and doors. We might be able to get away with it. So I'd have to think if it does, it increases the price. The only way for that is calling, asking, and then viewing the property. So my offer that I'm going to put on here right now, this number on the purchase price that we want to offer on it, will be subject to them questions. So what I'll do tomorrow is I'll make a note of this and I'll call them tomorrow when I've got time. That's either at lunch or it might be after work or even a Saturday. If you're working a 9 to 5, it's outside of that. But I'd call and I'd ask them questions. What are the electric works? Does it come with any certificates? How old's the boiler? Does it come with a certificate of the boiler? When was it last serviced? There are a few questions surrounding that. Why are they looking to sell the property? What was the reason what was it used for before? Was it tenanted? The reason I asked that, if it was tenanted, it's probably had some work done in the past to be able to get it tenanted legally. I'd hope so anyway. If it was lived in before, it probably needs a little bit of work on the electric because there's different standards, gas safety as well. Then I'd ask about the construction type, see if they'd know. I'd be interested, out of pure nosiness, to understand why there's still beds in some of the rooms. I'd ask about the windows. Are they all double glazed? What's the situation with them? Do we need some new ones? Doors as well would be another one. So there are a few things that are springing to mind. I'd also ask what do they think the rental would be and what do they think the done up value would be if we was to do some work to property. And the final question is, I'd ask why there's some pictures missing, such as the living room, the third bedroom, stuff like that. My worry is the third bedroom is in terrible condition or is smaller than what it kind of we think it might look like. Again, the same with a living room. We have not seen pictures of the fireplace. Few factors we're missing that we need to pay attention to. Anyway, for a majority of refurbs this, where we're talking kitchen, bathroom, electric, I'm going to think it needs a full rewire, but it'd be subject to on the phone, remember. New boiler, heating system. Just looking at some plugs here, by the way. These look relatively new, which to me screams that it might not need a full rewire. Please tell me that's not a plug. Okay, definitely needs electric work. I don't know why there's a plug up there. If anyone's watching this and goes, they used to have plugs up there for this reason, I've never seen that. I'd be very interested to know why. That's quite funny. No plugs in here, so it's most likely going to need a rewire. And I'm going to put a bathroom in there as well. So for me, the entire property with all of that is going to be anywhere between 25 to 30, I would say. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go in the middle for now, 27.5. I think that's a nice number to be working out on. So, couple of points that I want to pay attention to. On the 110 already, in terms of adding value, I mean, you're adding our fees, you're adding a lot of stamp and stuff like that. We are spending 27.5, which puts us at about 137.5 in terms of the overall purchase price with refurb. So on this one, we're adding £12,500 worth of value by spending 27.5. I'd want to be getting that cheaper personally. So for me, I think £100,000 would make it a good deal. But I want a great deal. So for me, I'd be going in at 95. I think that would be really, really attractive at that point. £95,000 would work brilliantly. That's what I want to be focusing on. Very good rent at 95. As you can notice, we'll be clearing £514 as a net rental. That's very, very good. Very, very good. That's because we've got a £150,000 style house rental, which is £950, and we're buying it on a £95,000 mortgage. So we're hitting both sides of it there. But this, for me, is a really good deal. I just need to finalise that refurb number. Okay, and by doing that, I need to pick up the phone, I need to have them conversations, I need to understand, right, as I said, electric, gas, I won't go over it again, but understand a few points on that. Rental, I'm happy with, but I would ask the question and find that out. I'd call a couple of rental companies, find out what they think the rent would be. Market value, again, I'd ask the questions, but I'm confident with 150 because we've had a look. Don't get me wrong, we've seen one comparison. I'd like a little bit more evidence if we were to look at it, but I mean, here we've got a couple that need full works at 140, 130 needs absolutely everything, and then ours. My question there, which I'm sure you're thinking, is, well, why is this positioned at 110? Well, it's just been reduced. This might be something that they just want to get rid of ASAP. This might be, it needs a bit too much work, but then I'd be looking at these going, well, these need loads of work and they've sold. So I'd be interested to go, well, why is this not selling? A couple of things. It might be the construction type, but then a couple of these seem similar construction. I mean, that's not, and then this, yeah, so they all seem similar in terms of construction type. So it'd be, is that the same property? Yeah, that's the same property. That's at 130 and 140, but anyway. I like this deal. I like this deal a lot. Another point to just pay attention to is this is advertised at 110,000. It was 120. Bear that in mind. I might call up and they might say, George, we've got 20 viewings tomorrow. It's not going to work. However, if I call up and it's available and they've not had many viewings, I mean, a £95,000 would work perfectly. Even £100,000 would look good. But again, just need to finalise on what that looks like. But for me, that is a good deal. I mean, let's look at what is good. The yield is at 12%. Yield is not the be-all and end-all, but 12% is absolutely fantastic in today's market. We target 7 to 9. 12% is very high. The total cash outlay versus the equity is more than the amount we're spending. Again, a very, very good target. We usually aim for maybe 10% difference in total cash outlay being at least 10% higher as a maximum. So that's really good again. What we can do with that equity is 75% of that equity we will release when we refinance, whether that's in 6 months or whether that's in 2 years, we'd release 75% of that. Again, if you want to learn what I'm on about when I say things like this, just let me know and we can explore more videos to talk about in more in depth. Then on the net rental, 515 is very, very, very good. And then finally, the net return, so the annual income, which is your net annual income versus the amount you're spending, so your total cash outlay, brings in nearly a 10% return. That's on the income alone. Never mind having the equity, never mind refinancing as the future, never mind the property going up in value over time and the capital growth not even being included in that number. That is purely on outgoings versus income, okay? And that will only improve. I like this property. This is one that I will be approaching and I will be looking at moving forward. As I say, the next steps for me. So if this is you and you found a property you're like, I really like this, I've done my research, I'm at the point where I'm quite interested. The next steps is calling up the agent, having a conversation, understanding all of the questions we've talked about to get the refurb number done up, understand the rental figure, understand the market value, make sure we're confident in our numbers. Then I'd be going, look, Mr. Reeds, I'm interested in this property, but I'm not 110,000. I know it's just been reduced, so I'm assuming you've got a few people looking at it. However, for me, I'm very confident in my numbers. I'm around 95. Am I wasting my time to get a viewing booked in? They might go, yep, absolutely. We've got 4 million viewings tomorrow. Cool. We're probably not going to get it at any price under. They might go, they've just reduced it to 110. They want to give it a week. Fine. Let me speak to you in a week, see if there's more movement. They might go, do you know what, George? To be honest, we've reduced it to 110. They're happy just to get someone in there and get an offer on the table because they need to move quickly. Okay, so 95 might be considered. Yeah, I personally would go and ask, can you speak to them and see what they say? Because if they go, no, absolutely not, we want longer, I don't want to waste my time. But some people might go, actually, 95, yeah, it'd be considered, they might want a bit more. That's a good time to go view the property, to get the experience, to see it, to view it, and you've got the opportunity that an offer might get accepted. I'd view the property, I'd take videos, I'd take pictures, I'd get as much information as I can. Once I've been, I would then be looking and understanding, right, what can I refurb this for? Is that £27,500 realistic? Or am I talking out my ass? Would it be more? Will it be less? Where can we save? Where do we need to spend? What's the electric, gas, all of the additional information that we've said. You'll be able to see the windows, the doors, the roof. There's more that you can see when you're there. Might go up, might come down. Most likely it doesn't come down. Then after that, I'd be getting an official offer in place, which for me, 95 is where I'd want to be. I might go view it and go, actually, it needs loads more work. I'm at 90. But that's where the negotiation, that's the fun part, by the way. That's where the negotiation comes in to Mr. Reed's Reigns. That would be going, right, well, I need to be a little bit less than that. Or, do you know what? I've looked at it. I can go slightly higher. I can actually get to 97, 98, whatever that might be. It's about framing that with the agent so that we can put an offer over to the seller and we can then see what we can do. We might start at 95, end at 100, realise that is 29,500 and then go, great, does this still work for us? Well, if we're targeting a 9% return, I mean, for me, I'd be going, great, we need to be at 98. Now that works. And I'd be calling, but then when I'm calling the agent to say I'm at 98, they're then understanding it from a point of view going, I need to be at a certain return. Honestly, 99, I just can't get to. And I'm talking in a way that's not just thinking of something out of thin air and trying to save a few £1,000s. I'm going, I can't physically go anymore because of the return needs to be a specific amount. So I'm giving substance to my offer. And that's what I'd be doing. I mean, if we can get this at 95, I'd be very keen to look forward, especially for, as I say, a couple of investors that I've got in mind. But for me, that works really well. What I'd be doing with the investor, I'd be saying, here's the target. So this is one that I like. So I'd be sending them, we'd get it accepted. I'd send them this. Look, we've got this at 95. Here's the spreadsheet. Here's the property. Here's the schedule of works with the 20, however much we've agreed in the end with my project manager. And here's one that's sold in the area that I really like. This is the aim. We're going to pretty much copy and paste. I mean, if you want to change a couple of things, we can do. And I'd be going through that and saying, this is what we're aiming for. There's a few differences, but we're aiming for something similar. And that's what I'd be talking to the investor. I'm very open when working with investors so they can see why we're doing what we're doing, what the strategy is, what the numbers are, what the information is, where their money's going in all the different areas, etc. This one works. I'm happy with this. All this information I've got here, we teach this, by the way. This is what we do more in depth. We do it in the community. We do live sessions like this together. We look at different areas that people are focusing on as well as doing the training on what is BRRR, how to find your investors, how to find the properties, which we've done a bit on, but there's more strategic ways. This is one way out of the 5 we look at. how to then package this for investors, blah, blah, blah. I won't go into too much detail. You get access to all the calculators, you get access to schedule of works, like I've said, message templates. Again, everything's an open book in the network. So if you are interested to work with us and get taught by me to focus on how you can do this properly, how you can monetize on this and build a business in this, make sure you click on the link and we can book a call to see if it's right for you and to see if you're a right fit for us. But apart from that, hopefully that's provided really good value. Hopefully that is something that you want to see more of. If you do, please like, please subscribe, please drop me a comment with anything that you want me to focus on, and then we'll look at doing another video soon that's very similar.